Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Happy Show Tuesday, number 127. Okay, 127. I don't have a drink to cheers with right now, so I gotta open this little thing. Here's my,
Oh, I got a
there
coffee.
we go.
Cheers.
Kanpai. Happy Show Tuesday to everyone around the world, and welcome to our quick summary of some of our travels over the past few couple of weeks. But yeah, before we get to that, how's it going?
It's going all right. It's it's Irish tuxedo weather. I'm back in my tracksuit. Uh, those are happy times for me. So very comfortable. I think everybody seemed to start to worry a little bit that it wasn't getting cold, and that's starting to change. I think even
Yeah,
in New York, it's
finally.
been like super warm. I had a conversation with Jamie Graves earlier this week, and he was pretty freaked out that it was November in New York, and he was wearing shorts and a t-shirt. So
It's a little disconcerting, I'm not
yeah,
gonna lie.
yeah, I agree. Um, yeah,
Um, but
you're
it's all
you're
right
not at home.
here in Kyushu.
Yeah, that's right. You're actually here in Fukuoka. Had we
Hmm.
planned this better, we might have been in the same place for this, but it's all right.
It's how these things work. I'm in
Yeah,
the beautiful green, what is it? Hakata Green Hotel, which is one of my regular business hotels down here. But um, yeah, the fall is in the air finally, and it's a beautiful day. And it is certainly shochu season, sweet potato season, and a bunch of other ingredients, of course, as well. But we have been traveling around recently with some of our friends from the United States that came and visited us. And if you've been following our endeavors on Instagram in particular, then you've probably noticed that Stephen and I have been um, traveling all around southern Kyushu with them, particularly Susanna Skyver Barton and Kara Newman were with us for a long trip. Also, a friend of ours from Texas, James Barlow, was on, you know, in the van as well, and we got to go to a bunch of great distilleries. We got to eat a bunch of stellar meals. We got to hang out with a bunch of really cool people. And of course, as the title of this show implies, we also went to a couple of festivals. And the first one, of course, was in Miyazaki.
that's right. Yeah, that was Miyazaki non giorno, which is little Japanese play on buongiorno. So no nomu or nonde are Japanese ways of drinking, of saying drinking.
Yep.
So non giorno becomes.
Nongiorno.
And but basically, what I think almost all of the Miyazaki makers were represented in one way or another. Most of them, anyway. It's like
A lot
20,
of yeah.
20, 25, 24 makers. Probably a few didn't show up, but it was an outdoor festival right outside the newly refurbished train station.
Hmm.
Miyazaki Station used to be one of the, let's call it, more quaint uh, hub stations in Japan,
Quaint
and
is
they
code for ugly.
yeah, and they have put up Amu Plaza, which is a big department store. They've put up a big shiny new JR Kyushu hotel, and they basically put a facade over the old station. You can still, if you look closely, you can still see the old worn parts, but
Sure.
it's got a pretty face on it now. So,
Lipstick
but
on a
in,
pig.
yeah, but inside they've really upped their offerings. They built out toward the road a little bit, so they put in more shops. So there's more souvenir shopping, more restaurants inside the station itself.
Hmm.
Nice little gourmet grocery store right across the street. So they've really
Yeah.
improved the area quite a bit. It was always when we get to Miyazaki and get off the train, we just start walking because there was nothing there. We go to the main drinking area, dining area, but there's some
Yep.
good stuff there now.
That
And
drinking and dining area is pretty far removed from the station too, which is
it
something
is
that
it's
always kind of puzzles me. But
like a 15-minute walk, isn't it?
I know it's like it's an island out there, you know?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
but I mean, I guess that happens, but it's kind of funny that it's so far away from the train station.
Yeah.
Um, but
In Tokyo, they're always like clustered around the station, right? There's
yeah,
always this concentration of
it
bars and
makes
restaurants
sense, right?
right at the station before people get on their
Yeah, you got to
train home.
build an extra 15 minutes into your escape, you-
Yeah.
just to get to the damn station. So yeah, Non Giorno was fun, and it was it's basically it was 1,000 yen. It's what's 1,000
Yep.
yen? 1,000 yen is $8,
Yep.
$7,
Yep.
and you get this little it's a little kind of thermos style. Oh, you have one, I'm sure, with it.
Yep.
It's a
Yep.
little cup, and this
So
year it had a
it's this.
carabiner on the side, so it
Yeah.
becomes
So
a
you can just
camp mug.
hook
Yep.
it on your
And
belt loop, and you just have your cup with you anywhere you go. And actually,
yep.
they had
And
different colors, and
uh-huh.
um, I played the I played my foreigner card because I got a green one because you just randomly got whatever, sorry, blue one, and orange is my favorite color. This is actually orange. It
Mhm.
looks red on the screen, but I walked up to this journalist that we know. She was holding an orange cup at the end of the event, and I said, "Do you like orange?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Do you like blue?" She said, "Yes." So I handed her my mug, and she took it. She looked at it. It's like, "What?" And I took hers, and I said, "Thank you."
And walked out.
And she couldn't argue. And she was like, "But
Uh,
okay."
okay. Most of them were blue, I think. Everybody
Yeah,
else in our team got blue, I think.
yeah.
But
I, I was a little bit childish at that moment, but I got my orange handled uh, non giorno mug. It actually says it's good. It's funny. It's got a little sweet potato, little barley sheaf, a little rice sheaf,
yep.
and
and
then it
and they're
says,
smart not to put the year on it so they can reuse whatever they don't,
"That's right." It says
any surplus.
Honkaku Shochu non giorno.
Yep.
And then so yeah, we've got different. I've got different years of these. It's not just this though. They're usually, in fact, well,
They're
this
usually
isn't, but
bigger.
they're usually like this, right? This is actually
Yeah.
this is not this is from Volvo,
Volvo.
um, but the they're usually these larger cups. But I guess they wised up and realized people don't need like tumbler sized pours, so
It's a
they
lot of
went
shochu.
smaller.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you can take this little cup to any of the stalls. Now anybody can walk through the area if they want to,
Hmm.
but only people with the cup and also a wristband
Yep.
are able to get their cup filled. And you go up to whichever distillery it happens to be. As Steven said, there are 2 dozen distilleries represented there, and they have, of course, their regular. Most of them will have all the stuff that you recognize from those particular distilleries, but then they often will have something special, something limited, something seasonal
Hmm.
that you can also try. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was really the first uh, scaled show-to event that we had been to since 2019. So that was a big deal. I think. Is that right?
The largest you had been to. We had
Oh,
the big
you went to
Shochu
there was
festival
one
at,
in Fukuoka, wasn't there?
that's right. You got the
But
PayPay
that was
Dome.
still but that was still like probably fewer people though, honestly.
I think there might have
No.
been fewer guests, but there were more makers because that
Sure,
was
sure,
all
sure, sure,
Kyushu.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, that I saw
and
pictures of
Okinawa.
that event in the stadium. It was like, holy crap, that's a lot of space for very few people.
Yeah, I think there it was just as a wave was happening. Like one of of course they schedule these things well in advance.
And
They
they
took a
didn't advertise
chance.
that one either. They did a terrible
That's
job of
well,
advertising that event.
I think they realized that if they had lots of people there, they're going to create a cluster, or they're going to be a super
Yeah,
spreader.
should have done it
And
outside.
yep, but it was inside
Uh,
the dome. But yeah,
yeah.
anyway, no, this was the first like legit lots of people showing up. And it was people not just from Miyazaki, there were people from all over Japan who are Shochu fans, heard about
Oh,
it
yeah.
and made the
People
trip.
from the
Yeah,
United States too that we brought.
that's right.
So yeah, it was fun. And I think it was probably one of the highlights of the trip, honestly, for everybody involved.
Yep.
They our guests anyway commented repeatedly about how much fun Non Giorno was, and
Yeah. And we had done that with Bill Gunter and Justin Cobb a few years ago. They had joined us for
2019.
Non Giorno.
That's right.
Justin, I hope you're feeling better. Get some rest,
Yeah.
buddy, and get back on your feet and take care of yourself. He's had a
He's
little health issue. I'm not going to disclose what it is because I work in healthcare and that would be a HIPAA violation. Oh, hello, Bill. Bill's watching. So
Yeah,
good to
Bill.
see
Bill
you.
remembers. It was non giorno. It was a different. Bill will remember very well. It was in a different part of the city. It was right next, as
Mhm.
Steven said, this year it was right next to the train station. In kind of, they kind of like made a roped off area,
Yeah.
with
The,
the various booths being the perimeter of the area, and
yep.
then everything inside. They had a stage like in 2019 with performers, and there wasn't any drumming this time that I saw or that we heard. Maybe
Yeah.
we got there a little bit too late. I don't know, but
Yeah, we did get
it
there
was a
toward
lot of
the
fun.
end, didn't we? Well, at
Yeah.
least I did. I had to return the rental car. Yeah. And
Right.
then
Yeah.
the
No,
traffic was
we
horrible.
got
So
there maybe a half hour into the event, maybe 45 minutes into the event, and
okay.
there was a lot of there was singing and performing on the stage, but there was no drumming.
Gotcha.
Probably a good thing because it would have been loud. Uh, it was a much more compact area than in 2019, Bill,
Yep.
when you were there. But highlights for me, um, of course, seeing, uh, we had seen the Toji of Furusawa Distillery, Masako Furusawa. We had seen her a day prior, I guess.
Hmm.
But it was good to see her again. And she was popular. She had a
Yes, she was.
long line.
Yep. Yep.
And then also had a couple of great sips over at Yanagita.
Hmm.
Um, Mr. Yanagita was there pouring. That was great. He's fantastic. And then we had a good time ribbing Shinsaku Kuroki of
Yep.
Kuroki Honten and Osuzuyama Joryujo. So that was fun. I
Yeah. It's
got a
always good to see him.
yeah, I got a
He's
hell of a reaction out of him when I called him by a nickname that I use for him, and he was like, "Ooh!" He was startled when I used it, so I'll get some more mileage out of that later.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah,
And
great,
he
great
had some new
event.
offerings as well, which was pretty cool.
He did, yeah.
They've got a new expression of naka naka, which they've started coming out with special releases of their main brands. That'll be like with a different yeast, different sweet potato, something, but it's still the same packaging, but it'll have like some kind of special tag on it. He had a special bottling of naka naka, which was cool.
Mm,
Um, yeah, so a
yeah,
bunch of cool distilleries. Of course, we saw our mad scientist friend Ochiai Yohei
yeah, yeah.
Ochiai. He's he's
He,
always fun.
yeah, yeah,
He just smiles.
yeah. He's so low key. Love him.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So non giorno, and it was good. I hope it provides an example for Kagoshima, who needs to get
Hmm.
its act together and get
Yep.
its let's do the events again. I can't believe there wasn't really anything formal done for Shochu Street. Having said that, there was something on November 1st that we attended.
That's right. Yeah. There was I don't even know what was it called. It was on
Maybe
Gourmet
it's called
Dori, so Gourmet
Mini
Street.
Shochu Street, maybe.
Okay. So they very creative in their branding. That was how many makers? It's just a handful, right?
13, maybe?
13, but they were like two makers would share a small folding table.
Hmm.
So it was on a much smaller scale than Non Giorno. And it's this tiny little street. It's all restaurants and some of the best places to eat in the entire city are on that same little stretch. And Wassel is shochu focused izakaya, and he's now got Wagon, which is a actually he took over the space of a legendary izakaya.
Yeah.
And then he also has opened a bottle shop. So right on that street, he has three places. So basically, in front of his places, because they're all concentrated on the what is that, the east end of the street,
Right.
he put in he put up the tables, and it was a similar thing, wasn't it? You paid like 1,000 yen, you got three drink stickers or coupons or something,
You
and
had
then
to
if you
go,
finished the
you had to go get your stamps so that you could
oh, that's
trade
what
the
it was,
card
right?
in.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You had a card, and you get stamps from the makers. The makers are putting stickers on your card, and if you got three, then you got a gift. You could choose which distillery you got your gift from, and
Hmm.
it was towels or cups or
Yeah.
whatever branded merchandise that they had from the distillery. And I think we loaded Susanna up with a bunch of shochu cups to take home because she was the most excited about them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
she's
it
got a
was that was fun
set to
too. I
play
mean,
with.
it was very, very small scale.
Hmm.
Impressive that they they organized it and put it up. I know it was properly permitted as well. He went to the city to make sure that he wasn't breaking any rules, and
Hmm.
he was allowed to do that. Um, Having said that, I mean it's basically a festival in an alley.
Yeah, it's a
I'm
super
not
narrow street.
sure that you could even drive a car down there. It would take a lot of doing to drive a car
Yeah,
down there and not hit something.
yeah,
So it's
and
not a lot of space, and probably his neighbors weren't very enthused with one end of the street being completely bottled up.
yeah.
But
Well, then you every so often you get a cyclist to just be walking their bicycle through, just fuming.
going like,
You could
what the
feel the
hell? Yeah.
like, but it's like it's
So
who bikes down this alley? Like there's
a lot of
within
people
like
apparently.
but within like 10 meters in either direction, there's other streets they could have been using. I, as somebody who cycles a lot, if I saw a big crowd of people at the end of a street, I'd make a detour. I wouldn't try to walk through
Yeah.
it, especially if they're
Yeah.
drinking. It's just a recipe. But no, that was fun too. We saw Michael Jikuya, who now has Jikuya White and Black in the States, and
Yep.
who else was there? The folk, one outfit from Ichiki, right? They made
Uh,
Tanabata.
Tasaki.
Yep.
Tasaki Shuzo was there. Yep.
Yeah, they were there. There was some Mami Shochu there as well.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a
Yeah, it was.
good little event.
Yeah, hopefully you know, I really hope. I know that this year, November 1st was Tuesday, so next year it's going to be a Wednesday. I know that they're not stoked about doing it's not called Show Tuesday, it's called Shoju Street, um, in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
I think that's stupid. I think it shouldn't matter. I don't want to wait one, two, three, maybe 4 more years until it lands on a weekend.
Yeah.
Um, so they need to get their act together, honestly,
Yeah.
because it's kind of embarrassing if Kagoshima doesn't have something big on November 1st.
Honestly, all the
So
prefectures that make sushi should,
they should. They
right?
totally should.
There should be a festival on Iki Island. There
In
should be a
in
festival on
in
in
fact, they
Fukuoka.
need to work together, and like Shochu Street was 3 days long because the third is always quote unquote culture day.
Yeah.
So there should be at least three different prefectures doing distinct events on different days, like
Hmm.
in and around show International Awamori and Shochu Day, which is November 1st. Of course, no, October 30th was when Non Giorno was, so you could kick it
Hmm.
off early too. I love that. Like
Yeah.
starts on the
Yeah.
30th, whatever is convenient, but let's have a whole week of this stuff.
Yeah. And on
Um,
Halloween, everybody can dress up as their favorite shochu brand.
yeah, everybody can dress up as a sweet potato. Yeah, so there's so much good that could come from this if they just put their heads together. I understand that, hosting a 3-day long shochu event during the middle of sweet potatoes brewing season is a tall order. I get that. So maybe just make it one day,
Hmm.
um, and let other prefectures. Can you imagine that tour? That'd be so much fun, right?
Yeah.
It's, the 30th is in Miyazaki. The 31st is in Kumamoto.
Komodo.
The
Yeah.
first is in
Kagoshima.
Kagoshima. The second is in Amami. The third is in Okinawa.
Yeah.
I would follow that thing south with
Yeah.
in a heartbeat, you know? That'd be a fun tour. I don't know why it's not happening.
Yeah. Maybe we need to make it happen. Maybe it should be called Shochu'sdays.
Show choose week. Hey, I'm behind it. I'm in favor of it. I imagine anybody who watches this would probably be like, yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That'd be worth a journey
Yeah.
to
I mean,
Japan.
and just to, I guess to bring up an event that we weren't able to go to, a festival we couldn't attend, on Shochu Day, there was a festival in Washington D.C. DC Sake Company threw a little
Right.
party and
Yeah.
had a bunch of shochu for people to try. So
Hmm.
um, yeah, it's great to see that those are starting to happen. I always organized something. It was usually smaller scale. It was a group of friends out for dinner and drinks on Shochu Day,
Hmm.
um, or a happy hour that I organized. But yeah, it's good to have some of the retailers and distributors start to get behind it as well. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
And they're doing DC Sake Company is doing great work. And I'm actually currently looking them up so that I can, if you are the type who spends time on Instagram, and I recommend following them because you'll get more information about them. I'm going to put that in the chat right now. There you go. Just added the comment to both the Facebook feed and the YouTube feed. Check them out, follow them because they do a lot these days related to shochu and awamori. Yeah, right. It's not a paid promotion, but we are very appreciative of their efforts. So
yep,
pay attention to what they're doing. Give them a follow and and support them if you happen to be in the DC area or adjacent to it. Then probably there's going to be some fun events coming up that you should certainly consider. And yeah,
yeah, they're
hopefully this becomes an annual thing. Hopefully every year there are more and more events worldwide that are celebrating November 1st and anything that's convenient that's within immediate reach of that day
yeah,
because these are the types of events that this is the type of annual custom that or annual event that should become a custom.
hmm yeah. I agree for sure. And just I guess for folks that are not familiar with DC Sake Company because they're a relatively new outfit, I believe they're an online sake store, but they can also sell spirits. DC is a little bit of the wild wild west as far as liquor laws.
It's
Um,
fantastic.
yeah.
Yep.
And so they're doing good things there in the DC area. I'm not sure where their network of sales is, like if they can sell in other states or not, but you might want to check out their website and see what the rules are because they've got some good stuff available. And they do these cool events if you're ever in DC area. They do a really nice job promoting um, all these koji based drinks we enjoy. So
Yeah.
um, cool.
Yeah.
Uh, is it
Fantastic.
a
All right.
newly opened maybe? You don't have anything.
Newly open. I'm not in a place
Yeah.
to do that yet, so you go ahead.
Yeah, so you actually mentioned Furusawa, and I had purchased this on Golden Week when I was visiting Miyazaki, which is in May, and I forgot about it. This is a summer
Ah, okay.
shochu. So this
Nice.
is an Isho bean of her summer release. That's 20% alcohol, very bright, fresh expression. But of course, it's supposed to be consumed in summer, and now I'm enjoying it in November because I forgot about it. But really pretty packaging. I love it's got her little, so Yaizakura is the brand, which is sorry, the lighting is
Yeah.
horrible. Right there at the
Is
bottom,
it?
you can see that Yaizakura. There's actually a flower motif behind the kanji.
Oh, okay.
So it's a really pretty packaging. I love these blue bottles too. They're so fresh looking. So yeah, I've been enjoying that. It's been really nice. At 20%, I'm just enjoying it on the rocks. Pretty mellow. And
Summer season shochu. Now it's Shinshu season is over now too. So what's next? I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah, yeah.
Now it's regular season.
Unfortunately, I tried some of that at the Non Giorno festival. Um, Speaking of Shinshu, actually, we tried Furusawa's Shinshu. It's the first year that she's released it, and we actually tried it when we were at the distillery when we visited, and I said, "This is a Shinshu I can drink." She said, "Me too. I don't like Shinshu." But I decided to make one because everybody else is making it, so I made one that I would enjoy. And I said, "Well, I enjoy it too." So now I
Uh,
have a favorite Shinshu because it's not
there it is.
gassy.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. It's not. It's pretty. It's pretty manageable.
Yeah,
That's certainly true.
lots of aromatic characteristics on Shinshu that are not favored in the finished product when it's actually a main brand. But no, it was fun. And then I guess I won't get into too many details, but we did end up singing karaoke with one of the Toji. Just
That's right.
happened to
That's right.
happened to happen. We ended up in a karaoke bar that had that a bunch of other festival attendees happened to be in, and we were just kind of hanging out, and then pretty late into the evening, the the Toji from Watanabe Distillery walked in, and
Yep.
he and I very sillily decided to sing a duet together, and neither of us knew the words. We picked the wrong song, so
That's right.
yeah, I think it's the only song
Fact.
that I think it's the only
It's
song that
okay.
they actually they skipped the track. They're like, oh, this isn't working,
You
so
guys
we're gonna
called out. They're like, no, stop it, stop it.
yeah
Fast forward. Next song.
yeah
Yeah, it was a fun
yeah.
night.
It was
There are a few dull evenings in Miyazaki. I think we've learned.
that's true.
Um,
Yeah, Miyazaki's a good place to hang out. Even I mean even when we were so what ended up happening the the whole trip that we had planned got flipped. Right, we were originally going to start in Fukuoka and finish in Miyazaki, but when we found out about Nongiorno, we flipped the schedule and had it start in Miyazaki and then in Fukuoka. And
Another
so
event that they did not advertise very well. Yeah.
yeah, but uh, all the hotels in Miyazaki were booked. Like, and we needed hotels for 5 people, and so we were scrambling, and the only place we could get a hotel on for Saturday night was it? I think it was because the Nongiorno was on
Sunday.
Sunday. Nongiorno was on
Oh,
Sunday, so Sunday night we
oh,
could get a
non Yeah,
hotel
you're right.
in the city, but Friday night, Saturday night we couldn't. So we ended up staying at a hotel in Aoshima, which is
Yeah.
about 15-20 minute drive south along the coast. And Aoshima is a little island where there's a pretty iconic shrine out on the island. And we got a hotel there, but that meant that the first couple nights we were actually not in Miyazaki City. And we had planned the first night we just had like everybody had arrived and was tired from the trip, so we planned a low key little izakaya dinner near the hotel. And the next night we were planning on going into the city, but Christopher and I recognized that there was this pretty nice little restaurant newly opened across from the hotel, and we went in and checked it out. And it turned out it's owned by a uh, an outfit that is a wine importer and also has a shochu distillery in Shikoku. And we were like, oh, this could be a fun experience, right? It's not what the tour would expect or the group would expect, but it saved us you know the 15-20 minutes driving in and out of Miyazaki City, by taxi. And we could just walk across the street from the hotel. If people were still jet lagged, they can go home early, whatever. And
Hmm.
that ended up being a nice little dinner too. So we actually had two evenings in Aoshima, which were pretty low key to start the trip, and then we jumped into the thick of things and ended up in
Yeah.
Miyazaki City the night of Nongiorno, and then beyond, right? And that night we had pretty great yakitori, right? Had a pretty fantastic dinner, and then oh, and that day actually, we would be remiss if we didn't say that we had the best distillery tour we've ever had. At least it's something that's a guided tour that's organized for tourists.
Yeah.
And I think it's not too much to say that it was unbelievably good.
Yeah. It was really high value
Yeah,
tour, and yeah, unfortunately, it's also the largest maker. I say unfortunately just because it's like, damn it. Of course they do it better.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
I mean,
Kirishima Distillery.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we we've been you had been done the tour before, and you said that they've really improved it. That and
Yeah.
I've been at tours at big distilleries before, and not all big distilleries will offer tours, right? This is something that's relatively recent, and a few of them do it. But the other tours are usually, um, if there's any English subtitling to the videos that they're showing you, they're very boilerplate. There's not a lot of actual real information. And this was like a 15-20 minute class on the microbiology behind brewing and distilling.
Yeah.
It
It
was
was good,
really
and they
good.
had a lot of great visuals, some
Yeah,
very, very illustrative videos that were
yeah.
animated, like essentially they had animated the process
Hmm.
of yeast making alcohol. I was like, man,
It was
this is
really good.
really useful.
Yeah.
And when I had been there before several years ago, I got the kind of I got the floor level tour. I also walked through their previous guided tour, which had all the panels on the wall and all the windows into the distillery. So this this facility actually that we visited is brand new. It wasn't there the last time
Hmm.
or it wasn't there in the same form the last time I was there. So I wasn't expecting that much from it.
Yep.
But other than just seeing the difference in scale was basically what I was expecting to be evident. But they did such a good job of making everything of really taking the extra step on all of the processes and
Hmm.
visualizing it. It was really well done. So hats off to Kirishima Distillery.
Yeah, no question.
Um, I think everybody should go there early in their shochu journey just to
Hmm.
because they do such a good job of really showing you how
Yep,
the process works. So,
yep, yep,
really well done.
yep. And you can pretty easily get there if you fly into Miyazaki. You take a train uh, to Myakunojo, the city where the
And
distillery
take a
is based,
cab
and it's
maybe
either a
or a
taxi or there's
bus.
probably a bus that runs there. Google Maps is pretty good at pointing the way for things like that. Yeah, and they've got a kind of a cafe restaurant. They've got a gift shop where they sell a bunch of different, even some of their special bottlings are available there. Really nice, crystal looking glass that they're bottled in. Um, and then a bunch of like local food, like little
Yeah.
drinking snacks and things like
Yep.
beef jerky, pork jerky, that kind of thing. So yeah, nice tour, really unexpected. As Christopher mentioned, we really did it to show the difference in scale. And when we talk difference, we mean magnitudes. The distillery that we visited makes 45,000 liters of shochu a day, 6 days a week, 52 weeks a year. And they have five distilleries that match that output.
Yeah, it's five facilities
They
doing
make,
45,000 liters a day.
I think the math works out to 225,000 liters a day, 6 days a week, all year long, which is that's not quite to the level of some of the largest spirits makers in the world, but it's very, very close.
And that's why there's bottles of Kuro Kirishima in every supermarket, every convenience store, most bars and restaurants in Japan.
Yep,
It's they have the capacity, they produce the volume to support that.
yep, yep. And as I've mentioned before, and I think now that we know the actual numbers of how much is distilled there, Yamato Zakura makes about 40,000 liters a year.
A year. So
A year. So
one
they
of
make
their
in
distilleries.
one distillery, they make more distillate in one day than Yamato Zakura makes in a year. So we're talking orders of magnitude difference.
Jeez,
Pretty crazy. Yeah.
it is crazy.
I guess they probably do take a week off for Golden Week and a week off for
That's
New
probably
Year's.
fair.
So it's
Yeah.
probably 50 weeks a year. But it's a very impressive uh, outfit, very impressive tour. As Christopher said, definitely a place worth visiting, especially early in your Shochu journey, because it really will give you the basics in a really, really good way, I think.
Yep.
And it'll also give you much more appreciation for the small guys when you visit them, right?
True.
When you
Yeah.
walk into Furusawa after you've been to Kirishima, it's just very, very different experiences.
Where are the computers? How does this thing work?
Yeah.
No, humans have to actually move this stuff around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. I'll be happy to go back again because
Yep.
I
Agreed.
never thought I'd say that, but I definitely will be.
Yeah. And we had I know I'm talking a lot about food, but just I remembered we went to um, a chicken nanban restaurant. I'd really hoped to take everybody to Ogura, which is just like a legendary chicken nanban restaurant in Miyazaki City, but realized to get to get back to the city, find parking, get everybody in line for lunch, it was just going to take too much. So we decided to go to a place there in Myakunojo. And wasn't it called like Bird Nerd? I think
Yeah,
that was actually
nerd
the
bird. Yeah,
Nerd Bird. It's
yeah,
called Nerd Bird. And the reason we realized is because it's really hard to order. Like you get to customize your chicken nanban lunch in infinite ways,
yeah.
like ways
It was
I'd
a
never
pain in
even
the
thought
ass
could be. Yeah, and Christopher ended up having to order for everyone.
for all five of us. I was like, this is like friggin' Starbucks with a chicken.
Yeah,
Oh, there's so
it
many
took it
different
took
ways
like
to
it took like
mangle this thing.
five, like at least a minute per order, and then people started changing things, and the girl got so
Yeah.
confused.
Wait. No, no, no. Can I change that? I was like, no. Oh God. Yeah,
Yeah,
that took forever to order. The poor
it was
waitress
yeah really
was
really good.
like, oh, you guys.
Yeah,
And she was
yummy
new
lunch.
too, so she probably quit that day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny what a lot of shops do is if you're wearing a name badge and you're a new employee, you get the new driver mark that people put the the sticker or the magnet on their car that's required for them to drive for a year. Uh, and they'll put that little sticker on their name tags. And so you know that you're dealing with a newbie, so you need to be patient. And that happens at my local supermarket. It happens at restaurants, and yeah, it happened at that at Bird Nerd. But yeah, good lunch. Then we hustled back to the city and kicked off Giorno. I had to return the rental car back at the airport, and so I got there later than you guys. But when I was in the taxi driver started talking, and he realized that I was into shochu and that I was going to this Giorno event, and he started laying out for me uh, all of his thoughts about shochu and Miyazaki versus other parts of Kyushu, which was fun because I've gotten that perspective from people in Kagoshima before, but to get it from one of these old guys, he had very strong opinions. He basically told me that Kirishima was not really Miyazaki shochu because it's made too close to Kagoshima. And if you're really a Miyazaki shochu fan, then you're drinking which brand did he tell me? Oh, Kobiki Blue, because Unkai
Okay.
Distillery, Unkai is close to the coast, so that's real Miyazaki. But Myakunojo, those people are basically from Kagoshima. So little bit of regional
That's like
rivalry
that's
within the
like when we
prefecture.
in Tokyo when we make fun of people from Machida for living in Kanagawa. They get pissed. They're like, it's not Kanagawa. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah,
and
Kobe Blue, another industrial
yeah,
scale produced sweet potato shochu. It's fine. I think
yeah,
actually a lot of Kobiki Blue is actually made in Kagoshima, but I won't say that too loudly.
yeah.
Um,
Well, he's not going to watch this show. I don't think I didn't give him my name card. So,
yeah,
but
although
and he
yeah,
taught me a little bit of Miyazaki dialect as well, which I don't remember what he taught me, but it was so funny. And then of course he then immediately transitioned to complaining about how he doesn't understand anybody speaking Kagoshima dialect, which nobody does.
yeah. Wow, that's interesting. He's a
Yeah,
little bit of a rivalry there.
yeah, we were
It's
in the
funny because you honestly rarely hear people down in Kagoshima talking about Miyazaki, but you often it's not uncommon to hear people in Miyazaki talking about Kagoshima.
yeah. There's a little bit of a jealousy going on, I think. Little
Maybe. Yeah.
redheaded stepchild syndrome because they didn't get the Shinkansen line, right? Kagoshima got the Shinkansen,
Yeah.
and
So the bigger
Miyazaki's been
city.
left to left to
Fend for
to
itself.
fend
Yeah.
for itself. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was funny. The reason that there were no hotel rooms, and the reason I was in the taxi for so long that I got to have this lovely conversation with the driver, was Miyazaki was also having their largest cultural festival from one of the Shinto shrines. It was like a 2 or 3 day festival, and we actually arrived in the city to when I dropped folks off. We couldn't get to the hotel directly because they
Huh.
had blocked off the main street, and they
Pain in
had
the
the
ass.
festival going on with the drumming and the dancing and the singing and all of those kind of things, which is great for the guests that they could experience that. And we didn't even have it planned, but they ended up. I didn't end up having to reroute, get people to the hotel, and then I took the car back, and then we were just stuck in traffic forever to get back in the city in the taxi. I should have just jumped on the train probably to get back, but best laid plans. But I had a nice
Right.
conversation with the guy, so didn't mind. Anyway,
Nice.
yeah, it was a fun trip. We had a really nice time. Um, got to see a lot of our friends and hang out with some folks, educate some people about shochu, which is kind of
Yep.
our full-time job at this point.
Pretty
So,
much.
yep,
Happy to do it. And
cool.
we will continue. Um, all right. Well,
Yep,
thank you everybody for joining the 127th episode of Show Tuesday. You can find us here pretty much every week. And currently we usually do this at 10 a.m. Today was 10:30 a.m. Japan time, which means we're talking 8 p.m. on Tuesday evenings on the East Coast of the United States. That will shunt back to, I guess, 7 p.m. on the West Coast. And we'll be back again next week with episode
uh,
128. We haven't yet
uh,
decided the topic, but
5 p.m. on the West Coast.
is it 5? I thought it was a 3 hour difference. Okay.
It is from eight to 5.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Well, I was saying, yeah, 10 to 7, 8 to 5. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for correcting that. Um,
Nice.
and uh, and until we meet again, to everybody out there from both of us here in Japan, a very hearty and heartfelt kanpai.
Kanpai.